If you're walking on East 106th Street, just east of Lexington, you'll come across this mosaic honoring a prominent Afro-Puerto Rican writer who died on the same street and was buried as an unidentified woman. This is Remembering Julia by Manny Vega. Julia de Burgos was born in 1914 in Carolina, Puerto Rico, and was the eldest of 13 children. She grew up in poverty, but was an ambitious student, earning a scholarship to the University of Puerto Rico and eventually becoming a teacher. She began publishing her poetry in the 1930s, writing about Puerto Rican identity, colonialism, race, and women's rights. In 1936, she joined the Nationalist Party and its women's organization, Hijas de la Libertad, advocating for Puerto Rican independence. Her work challenged American control of Puerto Rico, while confronting racism against Afro-Puerto Ricans and the colonial history of the island's African and Indigenous peoples. In 1940, Julia moved to New York, and in 1943 began writing for Pueblos Hispanos, a Spanish-language newspaper, where she worked as a columnist and published her poetry. But life in New York became increasingly difficult. Her second marriage ended in 1947, and she struggled with depression and alcoholism. Her health eventually deteriorated, and she developed cirrhosis. On July 5, 1953, two police officers found her unconscious near 5th Avenue and East 106th Street. She died at Harlem Hospital shortly after midnight. She was 39 years old. Julia had no identification on her, and no one initially came forward to claim her body. She was buried at the Potter's Field on Hard Island as an unidentified woman. About a month later, her loved ones learned of her death, located her grave, and had her remains returned to Puerto Rico, where she was given a proper burial in Carolina. In 2006, local activists Marina Ortiz and Deborah Quiñones helped envision a tribute to Julia in East Harlem. That same year, East 106th Street from 5th Avenue to the East River was officially designated Julia de Burgos Boulevard in her honor. And near the Julia de Burgos Boulevard street sign, Manny Vega created this mosaic on the wall of a Hope community building. It also includes a passage from Julia's poem, Mi alma, la locura de mi alma, no puede reclinarse, vive en lo inquieto, en lo desordenado, en el desequilibrio de las cosas dinámicas, en el silencio del libre pensador que vive solo en callado destierro. This isn't just a portrait of a famous writer, it's a community reclaiming a piece of its own history and making sure that Julia de Burgos, who was once buried as an unidentified woman, would never be forgotten again.